Welcome to my channel for another video. Today we're looking at splicing Dyneema cordage into continuous loops. A nice neat solution for attaching your hammock to your whoopee slings and attaching your tarp using Prusik loops onto your ridgeline. Today I'm on foot. I've recently completed the 108 mile Cardiff to Tenby KTM 100 ride. Congratulations to my riding buddies Phil and John. We had a great day out, so I'm taking a couple of days off the bike now to recover. I'm in the woods today on the outskirts of Cardiff. I found a superb outdoor workshop and studio. Oh, look at this. The bluebells are out. They're starting to die back a little bit, but it's a wonderful, tranquil place to do a bit of prep work for my next adventure. So, back to our splicing. I think a splice loop is far neater than just tying a knot in the line. And with the superb strengths of these Dyneema cords, they're hugely versatile for a very small diameter and pack size. Today we're going to learn the locked Brummel splice, which is ideal for these 8-strand Dyneema cords. We're going to bury the loose ends of the cord inside itself to give a neat finish. There's a slight lump here where the Brummel is, but that's normal. Today we're going to be using Amsteel and Lash-it, or Zing-it as it's also known. It's the same stuff, but a different trade name depending on the application it's sold for. All are made by Samson Ropes in the US and available through Henge Hammocks in the UK. I'll put some links in the video description. Amsteel comes in 7/64 of an inch, which is just over 2.5 millimeters. It's got a breaking strain of 1,600 pounds, or 730 kilograms. When you splice it or knot it, you lose about 10% of that strength. So our spliced loops will be able to support about 650 kilos. That's more than adequate for any camping need. There's larger sizes of Amsteel available, but they're hugely overkill for anything for hammock camping. The smaller Zing-it or Lash-it comes in two sizes that may be of use to us. There's the 1/16 and there's the 332, which is 1.75mm or 2.2mm. The smaller 1.75mm has got a breaking strain of 500 pounds or 230 kilos. Again, you lose about 10% when you splice it, so our loop here is going to take about 200 kilograms. The larger 2.2mm Zing-it or Lash-it has got a strength of 650 pounds or 290 kilograms. So personally, I don't think there's any application for that, as it takes up almost as much space as the Amsteel, but it's less than half the strength. I use the Amsteel for my whoopee slings and hammock attachment loops, as the strength gives me plenty of reserve for taking my body weight. And the Zing-it I use for my tarp, ridgeline and Prusik loops, where I value the tiny pack size. So these continuous loops we make today are going to be ideal for hammock attachment loops or Prusik loops. So let's make a start on our locked Brummel splice. I'm going to be using the Amsteel today, as its larger diameter makes it easier for me to show you on camera. But the principle is exactly the same for the Zing-it or Lash-it, though some of the dimensions might change, as I'll explain later. So first we need to measure off the length of cordage we need for our loop. The easiest way to do this, I find, is to use some masking tape to mark out the various components of the loop, as I've done here. Starting in the centre, we have the circumference of the loop. Obviously, this is simply double the length of the finished loop we want to make. Today we're going for a 6-inch loop, or 15 centimeters. So I need a 12-inch or 30 centimeter, 300mm loop circumference. After we join the loop, we're going to bury the ends of the cordage inside itself. We want at least 40 times the diameter of the cord buried to ensure it can't come undone and it achieves full strength. So for our Amsteel, we're going to bury 5 inches or 125mm in total. But to get a nice smooth transition, we're going to taper the last inch or 25mm. So that's 4 inches of bury plus the 1 inch of taper, 5 inches in total or 125mm. Lastly, we need to add an allowance for the length of the line that's going to be lost as the cord expands to allow the tails to be buried. This allowance needs to be about 12 times the diameter. So that's about 1.25 inches or 32mm for Amsteel. Obviously, we're going to bury both ends of the cord to form our continuous loop, so we need to add exactly the same measurements on the other side of the circumference. So we're going to measure off the length that we need, place that end there, measure it across until we get to the other side, and there's the length we need. So if I pinch that there, I take my cutters and I cut that in half. So now we have our length, we're ready to make a start. Now at this point, if you want to put any hardware on the line, like this whoopee hook I've got here from Dutchware Gear, now's the time to slip it onto the centre of the line. So these are the hooks I use for my hammock attachment line, and this stays permanently attached to my hammock, so I can detach my whoopee slings, so if they get wet they don't need to be packed with my hammock and make my hammock wet. So as I say, slip the hook on now if that's what you want to do. So our first step, we need to make our tapers at either end. So if we put the line down, find our inch or 25 millimeters, we give it a little pinch at that point, just push it together to expand the line out. If we take a needle, we can see the 8 strands of the cord, and all we're going to do is push the needle in and try to pick out one of these strands. So there we go, I've got one strand there, give it a little pull it out. Now we want to pull out about half of the strands, so we half the diameter of the cord at this point. So basically I'm going to go around and take every other strand and pull it out. So there's our second one. Keep going round. There's our third one. Turn that around. And our final one, the fourth one. So there we have 4 strands that we're going to keep and 4 strands that we're going to cut off. So I'll grab the cutter, just pinch them together and cut them off. Now we'll do exactly the same on the other side. So we now have both ends tapered. So our next step now, go back to our measurement again, and we're going to measure the full length that we want buried. So that's our 1 inch of taper and the 4 inches of bury, 5 inches in total. Similar to before, give it a little pinch. But this time we're going to take a fid. So a fid is basically a needle with a recess in the back for us to put the cord through. And we're going to push this through. We're looking for a nice hole through the centre. And we're looking to make sure that we've got 4 strands on this side and 4 strands on the other side. So we're halfway through. Take the other end of the cordage, push it into the recess at the back of the fid, and then push it through. And we just pull the tail through. So now we have the line threaded through itself. So we need to do exactly the same again on the other end. Going to measure out our 5 inches, 125 mil of berry. So we give it a pinch, and again we're looking to find a nice hole through the centre 4 strands either side. We'll thread the fid through. Pinch up the end of the line, push it into the back of the fid and push it through. So at this stage now, we've made our locked Brummel. We've got the 2 sides threaded through, and we can just pull that tight. So there we are. Now that'll take quite a lot of load exactly as it is. That's locked in there nicely, and it's not going to come undone. But obviously we want to neaten this up now by threading these loose ends back inside the loop to finish it off and get a nice neat finish. So to do that, we're going to take our fid again, and we're going to push the fid just behind the Brummel, gather the sheath of the cordage up and push that in and make a nice big recess, a nice big hole right down the centre of the cord. The fid's diameter makes that nice and easy to sort of expand that out and make a nice big hole. It's worth taking a bit of time here to make a nice sized hole, because it'll make it easier in a second. So there we go, we've got our hole in there. So if we take our needle again, I'm going to take the side that's bent back ready to go down that hole. We'll pinch the end of the taper there and thread it onto the needle. Put it right back to the end of the taper, and then we're going to thread that back down through the hole that we've made in the loop. Thread the needle right down through the centre, and then pinch it at the end. This is the most difficult part. We need a bit of patience here as we pull this bit down. Eventually it'll go. There it goes, so it's starting to thread in. So at this point now, we can feed the needle round until we're a good way around our continuous loop, and we're confident that we've gone far enough. So pull that through, just milking the sheath back over the needle until we come out the other side. There you go, we can take the needle off now. So we've done that side. We now need to do exactly the same again on the other side. There we go, and we're through. Pull that off, put our needle down, and now is our time to make sure that that Brummel is nice and tight. So we want to pull quite hard on both ends to make sure that the locking Brummel is nice and tight at the top, so we get a nice neat finish. And now it's just a case of milking either end down. So milk this down, and you should see the end of the line there disappear inside. Keep milking that down, and eventually it'll disappear. We do the same on the other side. You can see that disappear up inside there. There it goes. So just smooth it around, neaten it out. Give it a little bit of a pull. And then let's measure that up and see if it's the size that we were after. Now we're after 6 inches, so I take that to the end of my tape, take it to the 6, and hopefully you can see there that the inside of that loop, from there to there, exactly 6 inches. So success. And that is a lot neater than just tying a knot in it like this. So I mentioned earlier that the dimensions will be slightly different if you're using the thinner Zing-it or Lash-it. The taper will be exactly the same, 1 inch 25mm, but you can reduce this berry down to 3 inches 75mm, so your total length of berry will be 4 inches. The allowance only needs to be 25mm or 1 inch. Again, roughly 12 times the diameter of the cord, and 40 times the diameter for the berry. The loop circumference obviously stays at whatever you need it to be, double the length of the loop that you're looking to make. If you're interested in making your own continuous loops, then you might be interested in the kit that I've been using today. It's just a cheap kit off Amazon. It comes with a whole bunch of different fids, a nice case to keep it in. The cutter's probably the weak point of the kit. It's not as sharp as it could be, but you've got everything in here you need to splice, Amsteel and Zing-it or Lash-it. I use the fid with the flat sides to splice the Amsteel, as you've seen, and the needle's pretty useful, and the smallest fid in the kit is ideal for the Zing-it or Lash-it. There's also a number of other fids for other larger sizes. You've got a kind of spatula type thing to help you feed the lines through, and a pair of tweezers, although I don't have much use for those. But something that is quite useful, this larger fid, I'm not quite sure what you'd use it for, but it comes apart and you can stow some of your most needed fids inside it. I tend to put the ones that I most use inside, and then if I do want to take it anywhere, it's a nice secure way of carrying them. Well, I hope that was useful to you. If you take a look at the recent tarp config video I did, you'll see how to use the Prusik loops on your ridgeline to attach your tarp. If you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. It really helps me get this channel up and running. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.